Live from the Broadcast Center in Los Angeles, this is KCAL 9 News at 4.
Now at 4, smoke fills the sky, putting a grainy filter over the sun, making for dirty air out there as firefighters continue to battle 2 major wildfires. This is a live look from Sky 9 at the Dorado Fire burning in Yucaipa. And it's not only fire burning right now. The Bobcat Fire in the Angeles National Forest has more than doubled in size, sending smoke and ash all over the San Gabriel Valley and beyond. The fire has charred nearly 24,000 acres.
And earlier, Sky 9 was up over the LA basin. You can see the smoke filled the sky from Hollywood to downtown LA. And
here's another live look from our LAX camera. You can see the smoke-filled sky from just basically every direction.
And here's another one showing downtown LA. Just shows the orange brownish sky off in the distance there. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Susie Sa.
And I'm Juan Fernandez. This is KCAL 9 News at 4, and we're streaming on CBSN Los Angeles. We have team coverage on the fires and the smoke-filled sky.
Let's start now with meteorologist Amber Lee and the bad air out there. Amber.
Hi there, Susie. Hi, Juan. So it's not just from our wildfires here burning in Southern California that brought us a bad air quality. We're also getting a lot of that smoke coming in from the wildfires burning around the central and northern portion of the state. So it has all pushed into our area. So this is what we're left with. So as the day goes on, our air quality continues to change here and there. So right now we have unhealthy air for some individuals, and that includes the entire San Gabriel Valley, the northwest coastal portion of LA County, and central LA County. Earlier, we had very unhealthy air over the Inland Empire, but again, because of the way the winds are shifting, we had more of the offshore winds earlier. Now we have more of that sea breeze pushing in. Things have cleared out, but you can see that we're actually seeing a little bit of that smoke being picked up by the satellite from Northern California. So that's what's coming into our area today. And it looks like we will continue to have unhealthy air as we head into the next 24 hours because of the way that the winds are going through Southern California. So we do have a smoke advisory that will stay with us through tomorrow. Temperatures, because of the smoke and also because of that marine influence, we really didn't get as warm as what we thought. So you can see we have a mix of 70s and 80s, but I'll tell you about a gradual warm up headed our way. Back to you.
Amber, thank you. Now to another look at downtown Los Angeles. And Susie, you know, it's hard to miss that hazy, smoky-filled sky out there. And as we've been saying, the fires are causing poor air quality.
Yeah,
right?
KCAL 9's Alex Biston has more now as the ash and smoke make it difficult to breathe.
As the Bobcat Fire continues to burn in the Angeles National Forest, smoke and ash is creating poor air quality across Southern California.
It smells like someone's got a fire pit going on, like a bonfire. Yeah, it smells pretty bad.
Despite the blanket of smoke, April Montes decided to grab lunch in downtown Monrovia and sit outside.
Monrovia is busy at lunchtime. And actually, I was like concerned. I'm like, are we going to be able to get a table? It's going to be busy. But no, it's just dead. This is a ghost town.
Some restaurants are even closing outdoor dining today, like this pizza shop in Monrovia. They posted this sign. It says, takeout only due to poor air quality. Dr. Philip Fine with the South Coast Air Quality Management District says air quality is reaching unhealthy levels in parts of the San Gabriel Valley, but much of the state is being affected.
We have the regional smoke high up in the atmosphere from the Northern California fires that everybody in Southern California is seeing. And then plus, if you're closer to some of the local fires in the San Gabriel San Gabriel Valley, as well as further east near Yucaipa, you're getting a lot of local impacts.
Some are still deciding to head outdoors, like these people exercising at Foothill Gym.
People are still coming. They're wearing their mask anyway, and the air isn't too bad because we have the canopies up, so there's no ash in here. So for now, we kind of judge it hour by hour, making sure it's okay for everybody.
With many wondering how much longer the smoke will stick around, Dr. Fine says it all depends on fire containment.
We need to get the smoke to stop being created in the fire. So when the fire goes out, that's when we'll really know that we're not going to have impacts. But until then, with the shifting wind directions and sometimes stagnant conditions overnight, you know, we still could get some significant impacts.
For now, Dr. Fine recommends ditching outdoor activities and staying indoors as much as possible. Alex Biston, KCAL 9 News.
All evacuation warnings and orders in Riverside County have now been lifted from the Dorado Fire. Today, fire crews work to save the mountain community of Forest Falls as the Dorado Fire continues to rage in the San Bernardino National Forest. Firefighters pushed flames back as they threatened homes on Canyon Drive yesterday. More than 100 families were forced to evacuate after flames jumped Highway 38. The Dorado Fire has burned more than 12,600 acres. It is now 23% contained. And be sure to stay with KCAL 9 News for the very latest on the wildfires burning across our state. You can see where they're burning as well as get your local forecast right now on KCAL9.com or on our CBS LA app.
Now at 4, a search warrant turns to shots fired at deadly deputy-involved shooting in Compton in the early morning hours. Investigators are providing some answers about what happened.
KCAL 9's Candace Crone has the latest developments in the case.
I just heard the helicopters flying this morning.
Just woke up, saw lights, and was like, huh. Went outside, heard a couple gunshots, went back inside.
Neighbors described a chaotic morning on Bradfield Avenue in Compton after LA County Sheriff deputies exchanged gunfire with the suspect around 5:30 a.m. From above, you can see what appears to be a man's body on the ground of the property. Deputies went to a home to serve a search warrant for felony weapons and drug violations. While there, investigators say the man shot at them, then started a fire to possibly destroy evidence.
During the incident, the suspect did set fire, and then when he came out, there was another shooting. The individual that was struck by gunfire was the individual that we were looking for in the search warrant.
The suspect was pronounced dead on scene. Firefighters responded to put out the garage fire before the bomb squad was called in to investigate. Rosalind Taylor has lived in the neighborhood since the 70s. She says it's not as safe as it used to be.
They were at that house 5 doors down. You know, it's always a lot of activity down there. It doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me. Of course, yes, it's unsettling.
No deputies were injured in the shooting. Investigators say a weapon was recovered. In Compton, Candace Crone, KCAL 9 News.
Neighbors in a South LA community who have seen violent protests over the shooting of Dijon Kizzee are sending a message to outsiders. Stop destroying our neighborhood. LA County Sheriff Alex Villanueva this morning showed some of the items confiscated from suspects arrested at those protests over the past several days, and they include helmets, shields, bottles, and mortars. Community members called on the outsiders, some far away as Florida, according to the sheriff, to stop the violence.
I'm okay with peaceful protests. If you're wrong, yes, it's peaceful. But I'm not okay with outsiders coming to our community and creating chaos.
Now it's time to allow the outside agitators to hear our voice loud and clear. We do not want you in our communities violently protesting. You protest peacefully. You go home.
Well, Sheriff Villanueva says investigators have to talk to one more deputy involved in the August 31st shooting of Kizzee. Then he says he will release all the information they've obtained so far in the case to the public.
President Trump continues to push back against journalist Bob Woodward's new book. In the book Rage, the president says he downplayed the severity of coronavirus pandemic on purpose.
Well, Woodward has released audio clips from 18 interviews with the president. KCAL 9's Amy Johnson is here now with more. Amy.
Well, Susie and Juan, it's not just the pandemic the president talks about in the book. There are also recordings about the continued unrest in the country and Black Lives Matter protests. President Trump is calling Bob Woodward's new book, Rage, a hit job.
I was very open, whether it's to Woodward or anybody else. It's just another political hit job.
The Washington Post published excerpts with audio clips of President Trump acknowledging the severity of the coronavirus to Woodward back in February.
You just breathe the air, and that's how it's passed. And so that's a very tricky one. That's a very delicate one. It's also more deadly than your strenuous flus. This is deadly stuff.
The president tweeted this morning, Bob Woodward had my quotes for many months. If he thought they were so bad or dangerous, why didn't he immediately report them in an effort to save lives? The president then spoke about it again later at a briefing.
I didn't lie. What I said is we have to be calm. We can't be panicked.
President Trump will head out to Michigan this afternoon for a campaign event, the same state where his Democratic rival Joe Biden campaigned Wednesday and responded to the revelations.
He had the information. He knew how dangerous it was. And while this deadly disease ripped through our nation, he failed to do his job on purpose. It was a life and death betrayal of the American people.
Woodward also asked the president about the Black Lives Matter protest in the wake of George Floyd's death.
Do you think there is systematic or institutional racism in this country?
Well, I think there is everywhere. I think probably less here than most places, or less here than many places.
Okay, but is it here in a way that it has an impact on people's lives?
I think it is, and it's unfortunate, but I think it is.
This was President Trump in Kenosha, Wisconsin last week.
Some African American community leaders, and a lot of others actually, have said it's systemic. Where do you stand on that?
I don't believe that. No, I don't believe that. I think the police do an incredible job.
The president has made law and order a central theme in his re-election campaign. And Woodward has responded to criticism that he didn't publish the president's audio sooner, saying he wanted time to vet the president's statements. The book is published by Simon & Schuster, a division of ViacomCBS, our parent company, and you can hear more from Woodward this Sunday on 60 Minutes on our sister station, CBS 2 at 7 p.m. Juan, Susie, I'll send it back to you.
All right, Amy, thanks so much. We're just learning that the Cal State University system will stay virtual at the start of next year.
That's right. The CSU system says all 23 campuses will stay predominantly online for the academic term starting in January and limit the number of students living in campus housing.
Long Beach Unified has announced it will continue with distance learning until at least the end of January.
And now to the latest in the fight against coronavirus. Hospitalizations and ICU admissions dropped once again across the state today.
But the number of cases doubled from yesterday. Today, more than 3,600 new cases were reported and more than 135 new deaths. Right here in Southern California, Orange County reported more than 280 new cases and 4 new deaths. Hospitalizations are at 239. Riverside County reported 133 new cases and 9 new deaths.
Well, San Bernardino County reported 5 new deaths and more than 300 new cases. Total cases there now top 50,000. Hospitalizations are down to 214. LA and Ventura counties have not reported new numbers so far today. LA County's health officer says, though, a lot of workplace outbreaks are contained. However, contact tracing shows infected people continue to spread the virus socially.
This could be a dinner party, a birthday celebration, or a visit with a friend over coffee. Unfortunately, we've seen social situations turn into outbreaks because of non-household members being in close contact with each other, and it just isn't the safest thing to do at this time.
Oh, Dr. Mantu Davis also says the city issued 30 non-compliant citations to businesses over the holiday weekend for such things as not making customers wear masks.
California's Health and Human Services Secretary weighed in on LA County's new trick-or-treat policy that now recommends people to stay home on Halloween.
The way we've trick-or-treated in the past is not going to be the way that it's done this year. It may, in fact, be the safest thing not to do it the way we've done in the past, or at all.
But Dr. Mark Galley praised LA County for thinking ahead about the impact the pandemic will have on fall events like Halloween, Thanksgiving, and of course, Christmas. He also commented on the Citizen Safe Pass app LA County is using to help track the spread of COVID-19. Dr. Galley stressed, as Mayor Garcetti did yesterday, that it can be used as an augmented tool and not as a replacement for contact tracers. He also questions the app's accuracy of identifying close contacts of an infected person and how quickly the information can be relayed to scientists. Our coronavirus coverage will continue in just a minute. Coming up, infectious disease experts say the upcoming flu season combined with COVID-19 could be the perfect storm, but there is a glimmer of hope that it won't be as bad. Plus, remembering a young teacher who died from coronavirus. Coming up next here at 4, a freeway delivery.
And we're not talking about food. A baby couldn't wait to come into the world for one local couple. We have details on this cute one ahead.
And our state's unemployment office is taking action after a KCAL 9 investigation uncovered what appears to be widespread fraud. What they're doing about it coming up.
And LA County DA Jackie Lacey's husband faced a judge today. The ruling on his case on gun charges ahead.
And let's take another live look outside, shall we? Sky 9 over Ontario right now, where the sky has that strange tint because of all the smoke. Amber Lee will have another update for us coming up next.
A judge has ruled David Lacey, LA County DA Jackie Lacey's husband, should face prosecution by the state attorney general and not the city attorney.
Well, David Lacey was arraigned today. He's charged with 3 misdemeanors, accused of assault with a firearm. He was seen on video pointing a gun at Black Lives Matter protesters at the couple's home in March and heard telling protesters that he would shoot them. There's the video. Lacey's attorney doesn't believe the California AG has jurisdiction on the case. Jackie Lacey apologized for her husband's actions after the incident. She is in a runoff in November for her 3rd term as DA.
A deadly shooting overnight at a house party in Hollywood is under investigation this afternoon. It happened on Orange Drive between Hollywood Boulevard and Franklin Avenue. A man called police just before 1 a.m. saying his brother had been shot in the chest. He died at the scene. The man told officers they were trying to buy pot when the suspect started shooting. Investigators say those suspects, 2 men and a woman, drove away in a black SUV.
Well, no word on what caused a restaurant fire in Tarzana earlier today. Firefighters were called out to Ventura Boulevard and Tampa Avenue just before 11 this morning. The restaurant was connected to a car wash and had heavy fire inside. Firefighters were able to quickly knock down the flames. Unfortunately, nobody was hurt here.
Well, the state unemployment office is taking action now after a KCAL 9 investigation uncovered what appears to be widespread fraud.
We were the first to tell you about dozens and dozens of letters from EDD addressed to others flooding people's mailboxes. Well, the state's Unemployment Development Department has announced it's shutting down multiple claim situations to try and stop this fraud. Our investigation uncovered people targeting empty homes for sale to get away with unemployment payments. The EDD is asking that they be notified about any correspondence that appears to be fraudulent.
A family was expecting a baby next month, but their newborn had other plans today. She was born in the car as her parents rushed to the hospital this morning. KCAL 9 Orange County reporter Michelle Geely has more on the freeway delivery.
A newborn screams, and quite a story to tell, as the baby was delivered along the 91 freeway in Cerritos this morning by her own mother in the front seat of the family's Toyota 4Runner.
All right, perfect. Nice job, Dad.
Mitch Kilmer was able to cut his daughter's umbilical cord with help from LA County fire crews. They even recorded the special moment.
I've been telling my husband that baby's coming, baby's coming. In a few seconds, the baby's out. I was so nervous because it's the freeway and we don't have car seat. We have the baby, and there you go. There's a beautiful baby.
The Los Alamitos father says he tried his best to get his wife Shane to Anaheim Regional Medical Center after the expectant mother went into labor 3 weeks early. But little Mackenzie was in a rush and nothing could stop her.
I'm just saying, okay, honey. And sure enough, 10 seconds later, I start hearing the baby cry. And she gave birth while we were driving down the freeway.
On top of that, big sister was in the car too. Baby is perfectly healthy. Mom is doing great and realizing that these hasty deliveries may run in her family.
In Shane's family, her mother actually gave birth to her sister on a 3-wheeled motorcycle on the way to the hospital. So I guess this is a regular thing for our family.
The Kilmers and baby Mackenzie will be going home tomorrow. In Anaheim, Michelle Geely, KCAL 9 News.
We keep hearing just a few seconds the baby was out. She is so fortunate because I know it's not the case for all women having a baby, right?
That is unthinkable to me. But an adorable little baby bundle, right, Amber? Oh
yes,
my goodness.
So cute. Oh my goodness. All right, so what's not cute though is our smoke advisory, all the smoke-filled airs that we're dealing with right now here in Southern California. Just look how bad it is. We have a lot of this brown from the smoke just lingering with us. So not only is it from the fires here in Southern California, but it's also from the smoke coming in from the northern and central California wildfires moving into our area because we have this north to northwest flow, so has pushed it to Southern California. Temperature-wise, because of all the smoke today, we really didn't hit where we were supposed to when we forecasted yesterday, so it kept temperatures just a little bit cool. So you can see temperatures right now at 65 degrees for Oxnard, 70 for Camarillo. We have 83 for the Santa Clarita Valley, 83 for Woodland Hills. The valleys we were anticipating temperatures in the 90s. So this is why temperatures are a little bit cooler because of the smoke. 77 for downtown LA. We have upper 70s for Rancho Palos Verdes, 80s for Santa Ana, 75 for Newport Beach, and we have low 80s for Corona, low 80s for Norco, low 90s for San Bernardino, and we have 84 degrees currently for Beaumont, 64 for the Big Bear area. Winds have shifted, so we had a little bit of those offshore winds that help what we thought was going to try to warm us up, but now we have a little bit more of that sea breeze pushing in, so that's what's going to keep things just a little bit cooler through the evening, and then we'll probably see a little bit more of the low clouds and fog pushing back in as we head into the overnight hours just right along the coast. But the smoke advisory has been extended for a big portion of Southern California through Friday night, and then we're also looking at the possibility of some dense fog. So we had a mix of the marine influence and the smoke kind of together, and that's what kept things a little bit cooler. But we're looking at a slow warm up as we head into this upcoming weekend because of this high pressure system that we've been tracking. This is the high that brought us the above average conditions to start off the week, and then you can see things have really started to change. So as this high continues to move in, we're going to continue to see those temperatures go up, and then we'll possibly see some triple digits returning by the end of the weekend. Here's a look at our overnight lows tonight. So we're going to stay mostly clear inland, but again, that smoke will continue to linger, and it could get even worse, especially in the San Gabriel Valley, as that smoke continues to settle a little bit closer to the ground overnight. Upper 70s for the coast tomorrow, upper 80s for LA and Orange County Metro, upper 90s for the valleys. We gradually start to warm up, so by the time we head into the end of the weekend, we'll have triple digits returning for the Inland Empire, triple digits for the high deserts starting Saturday, and then 80s for the mountains also for the weekend. Back to you guys.
All right, Amber, thank you. The U.S. is approaching 200,000 deaths now from coronavirus. Ahead, the story of one young victim.
And some good news after one drug maker halted trials of its COVID-19 vaccine. What it says now about its future.
A 28-year-old elementary school teacher from South Carolina has died from COVID-19.
Demetria Bannister was diagnosed with coronavirus last Friday and died on Monday. The school district says she was last seen at her school on August 28th. She began the school year 3 days later, teaching her students virtually from home. The school district says after learning of her diagnosis, it followed the procedures for disinfecting, contact tracing, and notification of close contacts. And a couple from North Carolina also died from COVID-19 just minutes apart while holding hands. Johnny and Kathy Darlene Peoples had been married nearly 50 years.
65-year-old Kathy got sick first and just days away from her retirement. Her husband got sick a few days later. Their month-long ordeal ended last week in the ICU. The staff made arrangements to let the couple spend their final moments together.
Next day, they put them in the same room. Same ICU room, put their hands together. The nurses gathered around, and they passed within 4 minutes of each other.
Well, that was their son, Shane Peoples, and he shared his grief in a Facebook post, determined to remind friends of the threat of COVID-19 and the importance of protecting each other. His parents' funeral was held on Wednesday, socially distanced. Those are just 3 of the victims of COVID-19, but coming up here at 4, a look at how Time magazine is remembering thousands of them.
And health officials say the upcoming flu season combined with COVID-19 could be the perfect storm, but there is a glimmer of hope. It might not be so bad.
Live from the Broadcast Center in Los Angeles, this is KCAL 9 News at 4.
Now at 4:30, a look at some of the coronavirus headlines here and around the world.
There are now more than 27.9 million cases and more than 906,000 deaths worldwide. That's according to Johns Hopkins University.
The Trump administration intends to end COVID-19 screenings of passengers arriving from overseas starting in January.
And the famous New York discount store Century 21 is another victim of the pandemic. It has announced it is filed for bankruptcy and will close all of its stores.
Well, you may have heard the phrase recently, a twindemic. Well, health officials warn of a double whammy this fall of COVID-19 and the flu. One group is sounding the alarm for everyone to take action now to prevent what could be an overwhelming crisis.
As flu season approaches, health experts are stressing the need to get your flu shot now more than ever.
If there's ever a year that you need to get your flu vaccine, get your kids vaccinated, this is the year.
The Infectious Diseases Society of America says the big concern is that the flu will overwhelm a healthcare system already dealing with COVID-19. Both viruses come with many of the same symptoms and there may not be enough rapid tests that can detect which is which.
If we run out of those tests and someone shows up, particularly a higher risk individual, for care and let's say an urgent care center, and they can't tell the difference, that's going to be problematic.
CDC estimates between 24 and 62,000 Americans died from the flu last year. But there is hope this season could be mild like it's been in some countries in the southern hemisphere. Health measures taken to prevent the spread of COVID-19, such as mask wearing and social distancing, could be keeping flu cases down. But health experts say we can't pin our hopes on that.
We may not be as vigilant in some areas of the country here in the U.S. as other communities, based on our independence and our American spirit.
Well, health experts also warn it is possible to contract the flu and COVID-19 at the same time, though they stress the likelihood is very low.
A free walk-up testing site for COVID-19 is now open at Union Station to make it convenient for people passing through the transit hub. It will be open from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Wednesdays through Sundays. The drug maker AstraZeneca says this afternoon, despite halting a late-stage trial of its COVID-19 vaccine, it should still be on track to know by the end of this year whether its vaccine is even effective. But first, it has to be cleared to continue the trials. The company paused testing earlier this week when one of its trial participants showed signs of illness. A safety review is expected to determine whether the illness is tied to the vaccine. Time magazine's new cover is a stark reminder of how tragic and deadly the coronavirus pandemic continues to be here in the U.S. It also calls the U.S. response a failure. The country is approaching 200,000 deaths. The cover is made up of dates and death counts listed back to back, covering most of the page. It hits newsstands tomorrow. And be sure to stay with KCAL 9 News for the very latest information during the pandemic. Right now on KCAL9.com, you can get up-to-date case numbers in your county as well as free testing site locations. Well, Sunday marks the NFL debut of Chargers rookie linebacker Kenneth Murray.
And speaking of football, week one gets underway tonight in Kansas City. KCAL 9 sports director Jim Hill has the latest. Jim, we want to go now to breaking news happening in Wilmington, where a big truck has gone off the 110 freeway and leaking acid.
Yeah, Desmond Shaw is live in Sky 9 over the scene with the details. Desmond.
Yeah, Juan and Susie, look at this mega mess off the southbound side of the 110. This is going to be right around Sepulveda, just past Sepulveda, so actually technically in the Harbor City area, where this big rig went over the side of the freeway. You see another vehicle involved there. It just smashed right through this guardrail, flipped over, and indeed leaking boric acid and possibly diesel fuel as well. So Caltrans calling for what they call a hard closure, meaning that this is going to be here for quite some time. I'll zoom out and show you there's CHP blocking a couple of the right-hand lanes, and traffic snarled on that southbound 110. Live at Sky 9 overhead, I'm Desmond Shaw, back to you in the studio.
And Desmond, any word on the driver of that big rig? Is he or she okay?
What?
Okay, I don't think Desmond can hear us. We're going to get the answer to that question and bring it to you when we know about it. All right, retail giant Target is now targeting diversity. What it plans to do next.
Plus, you can get your favorite drink and snack at Starbucks, but there's something no longer available. The change ahead.
And caught on camera, 2 police officers trying to get an intruder out of a woman's house, but this masked bandit wasn't a person.
A wild week on Wall Street so far. Stocks were down just a day after some big highs. Tech companies like Apple and Microsoft pulled the market down today. The Dow closed down 406 points. The Nasdaq was off 222 points, and the S&P 500 was down 60.
Another 884,000 Americans filed for unemployment benefits last week. That's according to the Labor Department. That was worse than expected, and despite coming in under 1 million, it is one of the worst showings on record. Analysts say the economy is struggling to stabilize, with some industries like restaurants and hospitality still not at full capacity. Well, Target is making sure it's more diverse.
Yeah, the retailer says it plans to increase its black workforce by 20% over the next 3 years. The announcement came today when it released its latest diversity report. Target's chief diversity and inclusion officer says leadership development and training programs will also be offered to black team members.
Well, Starbucks says it is now official, moving away from straws in favor of sippy cup lids. The newer modified lids have a drinking spout and they're recyclable. Starbucks says it's another step towards their goal of a 50% reduction in waste by the year 2030. Straws will still be given out with certain drinks in some places where they aren't banned, but they won't be plastic.
What's in a name? Well, of everything when it comes to the technology in some new vehicles. Details on new research ahead.
Plus, caught on camera, a chain reaction crash in Northern California. We'll show you more next.
KCAL 9 News is sponsored by Energy Upgrade California. Keep it golden.
Caught on camera, a deadly chain reaction crash on the 5 freeway near Sacramento. The video was captured by a camera on a Tesla just ahead of the pileup.
An orange big rig slammed into the back of a black BMW and then bounced off a sedan and a silver sedan, setting off a violent chain reaction crash. Right here, 11 cars were caught up in that collision. The big rig eventually tipped over, blocking all of the southbound lanes. A 39-year-old man was killed. 2 others were taken to the hospital with minor injuries. New research finds a name can mean a lot when it comes to the technology in some of today's vehicles.
KCAL 9's Michael George explains.
So now the car can actually merge on the highway by itself.
Before the pandemic, we took a ride with Steve Sequeira in his Tesla, which comes with autopilot. The semi-autonomous system can steer, accelerate, and slow down the car on its own.
I actually prefer using autopilot on the highway because it decreases my mental workload while I'm just sitting there in traffic.
A number of new cars have some self-driving capabilities, all with different branding.
Let go. It's as simple as that.
From GM's Super Cruise to Nissan's ProPilot Assist.
The system can recognize speed limit changes.
And a new study finds those names can be important.
The way in which a system is characterized, which includes the name, does have an important impact on how drivers' expectations of the system.
William Horry is with AAA.
Okay, so I can let it go.
Which had 2 different groups of volunteers operate the same car with the same driverless features. For the first group, researchers gave the system the fictional name AutonoDrive and presented drivers with an upbeat assessment of its capabilities. For the second group, researchers named the system Drive Assist and downplayed what it could do.
It feels strange.
What we found is some pretty profound differences between the 2 groups in terms of their understanding and expectations of the systems.
More people in the AutonoDrive group said they'd feel comfortable eating or using a cell phone compared to the Drive Assist group. The AutonoDrive users also had more confidence in the car's ability to take a tight curve or avoid a collision.
They tended to think that the system was a lot more capable than it was. They expected it could perform in a lot of situations that in fact it couldn't.
Horry says automakers and dealers need to set realistic consumer expectations for these systems. More importantly, drivers need to educate themselves on the technology's limitations. Michael George, KCAL 9 News.
All right, meteorologist Amber Lee is standing by with one final check of our forecast. Amber.
Get the CBS Los Angeles app on any device. Local news, sports, weather, video on demand, and CBS in LA, all in just one tap. Download now.
There's more news just ahead on CBS 2 News at 5.
Basic concerns, safety questions about some Amazon basic products after complaints that some explode and catch fire.
Plus, not so cute, complaints grow against Netflix about promotion for the new movie Cuties that some say goes too far.
That's all ahead on CBS 2 News at 5 with Pat Harvey and Jeff Vaughn. Well, a strange police chase inside a Florida home after a woman heard a noise.
Yeah, no kidding. She found an intruder in her house. Turns out it was a raccoon.
I have a raccoon in my house. Right now I have it shut up in my bedroom. I'm needing to get somebody to come over and get it out of my house.
That call went into police in Tampa, Florida. It brought out officers who played a game of Catch Me If You Can.
Oh, boy.
Paula Tyler says all her windows and doors were closed and locked the night she heard the noise. She says the raccoon came in through the attic.
This light fixture had fallen down. I heard the noise, and the raccoon was in the corner hanging on the curtain itself.
Wow, well, when she couldn't get it out, she called for the cops. After a few minutes of chasing, you see it right there, the officers swept it out of her home. The raccoon bit one, but he is just fine.
Oh, thank goodness. They can be vicious.
Snappy raccoon, yeah, indeed.
Ooh.
All right, thanks so much for watching KCAL 9 News at 4. The People's Court's coming up next.
We hope to see you again tonight on KCAL 9 News at 8, 9, and 10. Until then, hope you have a terrific afternoon.